Hi, welcome to New Pets on the Block, a webinar about life with a new family member. My name is Jessica Char, and I'm here with the support of Silicon Valley Pet Project to tell you all about bringing home a new dog, puppy, cat, or kitten. Let's get started. Today we're going to cover several different aspects of having a new pet in your home. I'm hopeful that whether you're just about to bring home a new pet or you've had a new family member for a few days or even a few weeks, you'll find some of the information here useful. I want to start by just introducing myself. Then we'll talk about day one with your new pet, socialization for puppies and kittens, ways of bonding and becoming a close-knit family, and then we'll address some of the challenges that you may face with a new pet, most of which are extremely normal and easily overcome. So about me. Again, my name is Jessica Char. I'm the owner and trainer of two separate businesses, Canine Engineering, which is all about dog behavior and training, and Feline Engineering, the same thing but for cats. I'm a member of the International Association of Animal Behavior Consultants and the Association for Professional Dog Trainers. I'm a certified professional dog trainer, a certified separation anxiety trainer, and also a fear-free certified trainer. So let's just jump right in and talk about day one with your new dog, puppy, cat, or kitten. The first thing I want to talk about is preventing your new pet from becoming lost. This is unfortunately a common occurrence as pets transition into a new home, and you can take some steps to make sure it doesn't happen to you. If you are bringing home a dog or a puppy, make sure you're choosing appropriate walking equipment, meaning collar, leash, and harness, so that your dog can't slip out of it. If you're bringing them home from a rescue or shelter, they already have some equipment on them. Make sure you check it out and that your puppy or dog can't pull backwards and let their head slide through the collar. Same with a harness, which can, get loose and let your puppy wriggle out of it. Before letting any pet loose into your backyard, make sure you check your fence and check it carefully. The first time you go out with your new dog, have them on leash, let them kind of investigate, and let them show you if there are any holes. Also be aware that you might not know how high your new dog can jump. Be really careful around doorways. Both cats and dogs can sneak out very easily and quickly. Talk to your family and make a plan for how you're going to keep your animals safe, and consider using things like gates or pens around doorways to prevent any escapes. Go ahead and expect your pet to try to escape, and don't expect them to come when called. If they don't, then you're fine, but if they do, you'll be prepared. It's not because they don't love you, it's because they've never been in your home before, and the outside world might be interesting, they might be curious, they might just have been used to doing that in their previous home. It's better to expect that behavior and be prepared to prevent it. Finally, make sure you have some ID, like a name tag on your animal that has your information so that someone who finds them can contact you. Mini pets, if you've just adopted them, will come with a microchip, so you need to make sure that microchip's information is up to date. And anytime you move, make sure you update your pet's microchip information. I've included a little picture here of my childhood dog, Samson, who was an expert at teaching us to be careful around doorways and to be careful of fences, as he could escape in an amazingly creative number of ways. Next up, I just want to talk about some expectations for your feelings about your first day with a new pet versus your pet's potential feelings. Well, puppies and kittens are very excited to meet anybody usually. An adult animal might look at you and think, I don't know this person, and have some concerns around that. That's normal. It doesn't mean you're not doing a great thing or giving that animal a great home. Just remember you're a stranger to them. So while you might feel like this, they might feel like this. All that means is you want to take some steps to let them settle in and feel comfortable without pushing them too hard to accept everything about your life on day one. I really recommend that you don't throw a welcome home party for your new pet. It can be a lot for them to move into a brand new home and get to know new people and new places. Where do they go to the bathroom? Where's their food? They don't necessarily need to meet all of your friends and neighbors on that same day as well. Take it slow, give them lots of breaks. If they're not sure about cuddling with you on that first day, that's completely normal, and it's kind of you to give them that space to adjust. Finally, Using safe zones, meaning a space where your pet can be not bothered and also where they won't get into trouble. A safe zone for a cat is a room that's set up with all of their things. It's great for a cat to move into a small part of the house immediately, like a single room that they can adjust to so that they can slowly get used to the rest of the house. We can do the same with dogs, giving them a safe place to kind of go, decompress, that maybe is separate from other pets or children. It's both really good for keeping them calm and relaxed and also for keeping everyone safe as you learn about their personality and what they like and don't like. Another really important thing to start thinking about from day one is this idea of management. Management is setting up your pet's environment so that they're more likely to make the quote unquote right behavior decisions and not develop any bad habits. So, for example, you might clean up and take things off of your coffee table or your end tables, clear off your kitchen counters to prevent a dog from counter surfing and stealing food. You might put away kids' toys and clothes to prevent inappropriate chewing. For a cat, you might put them into a smaller part of your house where their litter box is never going to be too far away so that they're unlikely to make a mistake in their litter box use. Leashes, gates, exercise pens, also called X pens, and even closing doors are a form of management. You're giving your pet fewer choices so they're more likely to make the correct one. If you have a young puppy or kitten, this is especially important as they are developing their habits completely fresh and they have plenty of choices that they can make that aren't the ones you want to make. They can go to the bathroom in the wrong place, they can chew on the wrong thing, they can play in an inappropriate way, they can harass children, you, other pets. Management sets them up so that they're not practicing those bad behaviors. Another type of management is to make sure you have plenty of toys and treats at the ready so that you can redirect your pet to the correct behavior. So, a kitten wants to play with your feet. Having a toy on hand to redirect them to the toy lets them make the right decision and meets their need for play. Having treats on hand to show your newly adopted dog where you want them to lay or remind them that you want them to sit and not jump up is another really important and useful skill. Okay, our next topic is socialization. You've probably heard the word socialization and how important it is to socialize a puppy, but do you actually know what socialization is? Socialization is teaching a young animal what is safe and normal in the world that they're going to live in as they grow up. Any young animal is exposed to lots of different sights and sounds and experiences as they grow, and they become used to those things, internalize those things as normal. Anything else can cause them fear as they grow up. That's normal for survival. You want to be cautious of things that you've never experienced before because they could be dangerous. However, when we're talking about pets, we sometimes don't think about what they'll experience as they grow older, and that can lead to issues. So, socialization is very specific to a certain time period in a pet's life. For puppies, it can vary, but usually it's up to about 16 weeks is the crucial period for socialization. And for kittens, it's a little bit earlier, maybe up to 15 weeks. The socialization that occurs prior to those ages is going to have the biggest impact on a young animal's brain and their behavior later in life. Lack of socialization can lead to fear because something doesn't feel normal, and that means it might be dangerous. And fear can lead to aggression because an animal feels the need to protect themselves from something that they perceive as potentially dangerous. Now, socialization is about very young animals learning about their world. It's different from helping a fearful adult animal overcome those fears. So, we're specifically talking about puppies and kittens for this part. When thinking about what you need to socialize your new puppy or kitten to, you want to think about what could be part of their life throughout their entire life. So we can think about different people: men, women, children, babies, people with beards, people wearing hats, people in wheelchairs. Especially dogs and puppies go out into the world and see a much more broad view of different types of people. But kittens can also be exposed to different people and different types of people to help them feel more confident with strangers in the future. Animals other dogs, other cats, livestock, wildlife, anything that's going to be normal, birds, if you have birds in your home or are planning on bringing birds into your home, you want to expose your young animal to those early on. Places, a vet clinic. Often we only go to the vet clinic when we need shots. What if we took our puppies and kittens there more often to experience this uh, location and develop a comfort level with it early on? Riding in a car, riding on an elevator. And busy cities, rural spaces, where is your puppy growing up? Where might they experience later in life? And what can you help them experience now so that if their life changes, they're more likely to be comfortable adapting to it? Different experiences, being held, having their nails trimmed, going in a kennel. It's important for a young animal not just to have these experiences and tolerate them because they have no other choice, but to have them in a systematic way so they become comfortable with the idea of being held or restrained, having their feet touched, having their mouths looked at. Sights and sounds. So many dogs bark at statues because statues look very strange. Flapping flag might be scary. Balloons bobbing in the wind also can be scary. So, all of these are things that your young animals can be exposed to early on. Sounds, fireworks. Your animal is most likely going to have to deal with fireworks in their life. So let's let them hear the sound of fireworks early on. People yelling. Just, hopefully your family doesn't do a lot of yelling, but if they don't, it might help your puppy to hear someone yelling so that the first time they hear it outdoors or in another context, it's not extremely scary. And then different surfaces, slick floors where they don't get much traction, grass, mud, even snow if you can find it. All right, so those are the things that you would want to socialize your puppy or kitten to. But what is the actual socialization process? The key things to remember are that you need to socialize to a lot of different experiences and different things, but that doesn't necessarily mean direct exposure like playing with something. It also includes hearing things, watching things happen, maybe smelling unfamiliar smells. And when I say it has to happen a lot, I mean with unfamiliar things. So, not playing with the same dog over and over again, or experiencing the same handling of your feet over and over again, but handling of the whole body and playing with unfamiliar dogs as well. Throughout the whole process, though, the absolute most important thing is if your puppy or kitten is scared of something, pushing them through that fear isn't going to help them get over it. It's more likely to make them even more fearful, and to have them categorize that thing not as safe, like your whole goal, but in fact as dangerous, because that's what they're learning by feeling that fear. So instead, go at their pace, let them investigate as much as they are comfortable doing, and pair all new things with something really special. So, food, play, whatever your puppy or kitten enjoys and wants from that interaction. So, for example, you might play the sound of fireworks on your phone and pair it with special treats for your puppy. You might look into your kitten's mouth and then offer them a treat or a play session, always keeping it really fun, positive, and at their pace. Next, we're going to talk about becoming a family, in other words, bonding with your new pet, helping them bond with you, as well as briefly talking about how to facilitate introductions to existing pets in your home. When you bring home a new pet, it may feel like bonding is the obvious first step, but it is worth talking a little bit about so that you can really start things off on the right paw, as it were. Sometimes our pets come into our home and display some challenging behaviors that we're not too excited about right off the bat, and that can make it hard to feel like you made the right decision to bring them home. And also remember, we talked about how you're a stranger to your pet, so they need some time to get to know you and start to bond with you as well. So start with fun initially. Really think about, what does this animal enjoy? What do they seek out? Do they want to play? Do they want to get some treats and enjoy their food? Do they like to investigate new things and sniff around? And helping them do that while you're sort of there with them, rather than insisting on playing a particular game or interacting in a particular way. As you start to train them, do so gently. We don't need to immediately start punishing all problem behaviors because your pet really has no idea what the rules of your home are going to be. So let's give them a little bit of time to sort that out while we use those management things to prevent problem behavior rather than trying to punish that behavior. Your first training exercises are probably going to be about focus and calm and just getting to know the very, very basic rules of the house. Ask yourself, does your new pet need to learn all the rules immediately, or are there a few that will help them settle in, prevent bad behaviors, and then other things can be layered on as you get to know each other? Finally, I like to mention that sharing responsibilities is both a wonderful way to be a family, but also it lets your new pet know that everyone brings good things. So if everyone takes a turn feeding, everyone takes a turn taking the dog out for a walk, it helps your animal learn that everyone in the family is equally a wonderful part of the family, and we don't end up bonding with just one member of the family and kind of avoiding the others. When it comes to helping your existing pets and your new pet become a family, remember that first impressions make all the difference. The first question you want to ask is, when should your new pet meet your existing pets? If you're bringing home a dog, it's a good chance that you have done an introduction prior to even coming into your home. And if not, I highly recommend starting immediately with an introduction outside of your home in a neutral location. If you're bringing home a cat, it's actually very different. You want to set up your new cat in their own private safe zone where they can decompress a little bit and get to know their new space before you even think about doing introductions with other pets. That's because cats are very easily stressed by this transition into a new home, and we want to give them time to deal with that stress and relax from that before having to meet new family members and get used to them. As you begin the introduction, you're going to supervise every interaction your pets have with one another, and you're going to keep them separate when you're not there to supervise. The reality is, most pets do best getting to know each other through short times together, and they need to really be positive, successful times. You want to avoid having any issues, and the best way to do that is supervision and separation. Remove any competition that your pets may have with one another. While dogs are getting to know each other, pick up toys, feed them in separate areas, and make it really easy for them to have positive interactions with each other. For cats, this means lots of different perches, separate litter boxes, and food bowls, at least into different areas of the home, so that there's not any waiting for one to finish so the other can come in and enjoy that resource. Consider the differences in your species and your individuals in your home. Cats need vertical space, they need ways to escape from dogs and from each other. Dogs should never be allowed to chase cats. That means leashes, gates, closed doors. And also thinking about age differences. So a very playful young animal, it's going to need play outlets beyond the other pets in the home. Even if they enjoy playing together, some pets are going to need less time and more breaks. So it's up to you to facilitate that for them. And just remembering that really taking your time and having successful interactions between the pets is better than throwing everyone together and hoping for the best. So watch for the pet who is sort of most cautious and concerned about the interactions and set them up to be successful, slowing everyone else down. Short and sweet, keep it positive by making it fun and a really managed situation so that you're not having issues and you're more likely to get to success faster that way. Our final topic is this idea of normal challenges that you face when bringing home a new pet. There are a few things that are considered normal when a new pet comes into a home, especially if it's an older animal, an adult animal, and not a puppy or kitten. The first one is shyness or fear. It's so normal for an adult animal to come into a home and be a little unnerved by everything being different from what they've experienced before. They might hide, they might flinch away, not want to be touched or pet, they might try to avoid you, and they might not eat as much as normal. All of this is normal, and it is something that generally can be overcome with some time and patience. On the flip side of that, overactivity, some pets are much more clingy. They want to be with you all the time. They're kind of bouncing off the walls. They can't stop asking for play or wanting to run around, be active, investigate every corner. again, that's very common, and giving that animal some appropriate distractions, appropriate things to do, letting them investigate, and just sort of managing their behavior so they don't get into too much trouble is a great way of dealing with that. Again, escapism, we talked about right at the beginning. I just want to be clear that an animal that tries to escape when you first bring it into your home is not indicating that they preferred to be wherever they were before. It just means they aren't familiar with this space. They might have a preference for being outside for some reason. They might just be curious about going outside, or they might be a little overwhelmed by this new environment they've found themselves in. It's very normal. And the final one I put in quotes here, disobedience. Your new pet isn't being disobedient, they just don't know the rules yet. So instead of thinking about how poorly behaved they are for not listening to you, think about how you can introduce them to the rules of your house in a very calm, positive way so that they can learn and feel safe while also understanding what's expected of them. Now, of course, just because something is normal doesn't mean that you can't work on it or change it. You don't have to live with problems just because they're normal. Time does heal many of these first day problems, but you can also get support starting early on to prevent them from becoming worse and to learn how to help your animal adjust and cope with their new home. So, people that can help you, of course, there are trainers, both for dogs and cats. Trainers or behavior consultants can give you advice and information to help you understand why your pet is behaving in a certain way and what you can do to set them up for success. Your vet is a great resource. Often, especially in adult animals, behavior problems can be linked to health issues. So, if you know you've adopted a new pet that has some health issues, it's good to form a relationship with a vet immediately. A veterinary behaviorist is a vet who is specifically trained to deal with behavior, which a regular vet is not. So, if you're very concerned about a behavior problem, a veterinary behaviorist is an option. I also want to remind you that you can reach out to your pet's previous carer, whether that was a shelter or rescue, a breeder, or someone who was taking care of the pet previous to you but couldn't do it anymore and needed to rehome them. That person probably has information like how long did it take that pet to settle into their home? If they have any favorite games that you can use to bond with them or things like that. So it's always worth reaching out to those places just to see if they have any other information that might help you through this transition period. I included this little graphic called Be a Smart Dog Training Consumer that is from based on information from Jean Donaldson, who is a world famous trainer, and Lily Chin, who's the artist. And it encourages you to really ask questions of anyone you ask about your animal's behavior. This goes for cats as well, I will say. So, what happens if your pet gets it right? What happens if they get it wrong? And is there anything you could do that would be less aversive to the animal? Because unfortunately, some trainers and behavior consultants out there are still advocating for some methods that are not going to be best suited for your animal. And you really want to be cautious that you're using the most humane and effective tools out there. Okay, as we wrap up today, I want to introduce you to the idea of the rule of three. This is a way of thinking about how your new pet's behavior is going to change over the first 3 days, 3 weeks, and 3 months of their time with you, how they're going to settle in, and how you might think about what they're thinking in the situation. So, the first 3 days they're with you, they're going to feel confused, tired, maybe excited, maybe nervous. They're not necessarily showing you their real selves. They're having a lot of strong emotions based on wherever they were before. They might feel a little traumatized, a little bit anxious, or they might just kind of be confused and excited about this new place that they're investigating. It is often the hardest time with any new pet. Even with a puppy or kitten who has seems to have settled in more than happy to take on the next adventure in their life, this is probably the hardest time for you as you're adapting to meet their needs. During the first 3 weeks, your animal is going to start to settle in and feel at home. They're learning some rules, they're learning your routines, and they're starting to show you who they truly are. Now, this can make it easier, or it can make it a little more challenging, depending on if, as they settle in, they are more confident to sort of test the boundaries and go explore, or if they are settling in, becoming calmer or more confident. After 3 months, you have a new pet who is fully part of your household. Congratulations! And at this point, whatever issues you're still dealing with probably are not going to get better just with more time unless you make any other changes or introduce other training. So if you have an issue at 3 months that has been pretty consistent at this point, it's time to look for some help to make some changes. But otherwise, you really know who your new pet is and are getting to understand what life with them is like. Now, this doesn't mean things aren't going to continue to change. Some people suggest that it takes a full year for a pet to really become themselves in a home and start to settle in. It certainly depends on who your animal was, where they were before they came to you. And of course, if they're still maturing and growing up, they're going to go through a lot of changes past the first 3 months in your home. But I hope this gives you some confidence to work through those challenging first days and weeks and get to that moment when you have a great new companion in your home. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you're feeling confident about bringing home your new pet. If you're looking for your next best friend, check out Silicon Valley Pet Project. You can find them at svpetproject.org, where you can donate, sign up to foster, or check out animals that are available for adoption. You can also follow them on Facebook and Instagram for adorable pet pictures, as well as information about upcoming educational and social events. Again, my name is Jessica Char. My businesses are Canine Engineering and Feline Engineering, where I provide training and behavior modification for both dogs and cats. You can learn more at the websites or follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you again, and have a great day.